We're now going to turn to our second thought experiment, which asks, what are the effects of an increase in total factor productivity, the Z in our model, holding government spending fixed? So first I'm going to review the time series of TFP. You've seen this picture a few times before, but it's so important that it's worth emphasizing it again. So what you can see is some distinct episodes. Here in the 60s, we had pretty good growth. Then we had a period of very slow growth. The 80s was a little bit better. The 90s picked up even more. And the 2000s, at least until the crisis, were also pretty good. Now, of course, what you see here is that the recession really took a big chunk out of TFP. And as I emphasized in class, if you were to think about this kind of just extrapolating it out, you can see that we seem to be at this sort of permanently lower level of TFP, even if the growth rate is looking better. A second point about TFP that I've also emphasized is that there's this very high correlation between TFP and GDP, and that, as you can see, these blue lines, which are output, are more volatile than the red lines. So there's something in the economy that takes total factor productivity and amplifies it into output. Now, for what is TFP anyway? We're going to talk about this in quite a bit of detail when we get into talking about economic growth. But some examples would be technological innovation. So when there's a new invention, the PC is a great example of this. Especially good or even especially bad weather. If you think about what Katrina did, that was a very large negative productivity shock to a chunk of the United States. Fluctuations in energy prices also show up as changes in TFP, or increases in the quality of the workforce. Now, there's one camp of macroeconomics called real business cycle theory, and the book devotes at least a chapter to this, that believes that total factor productivity is the primary source of business cycles. But you don't have to buy into believing that it's the primary source to believe that total factor productivity plays a very important role, both in generating short-run fluctuations in GDP and in the long-run evolution of the economy.